Hey guys, today we're going to continue our lesson on finding the percent of a number, only we're going to be applying this to real world situations. And I know there's a lot of things in math that you learn about and you think, I'm never going to use this. But finding the percent of a number, or if you have the percent, knowing how to figure out how much that is actually is a skill you'll probably use at some point. The beauty of it as you get older is you'll be able to do this with a calculator, and that'll be a lot more helpful. Some of you will struggle with some of the numbers that get a little bit bigger, but you'll be practicing multiplying and dividing. But right now, let's focus more on the process of setting up a proportion to find the percent of a number, or to find what percent I have. If there's 58 cookies and I have 23 of them, what percent of cookies do I have? So those are the kind of things. Obviously, you don't probably care about the percent of cookies, but that would be an example of a real world situation. So let's look at this worksheet that's in front of us and look at this. I don't really want to call it a formula, but it's kind of a setup. It's a proportion for finding the percent of a number. Again, if you remember, we said that the 100 will always go as the denominator of one of these ratios in the form of a fraction. So you always know, well, we have four parts. We have the percent, we have the 100, we have the part, we have the whole. The 100 you'll just always know is going to be the denominator. The percent, if you are given a percent, it will always go on top of the 100. If you're looking for the percent, you'll put the X over the 100 every time. So the big question is, what is the part? And what is the whole? So that's when you're reading these questions, you'll have to ask yourself and go, is this the part or is this the whole? So let's look at this first example, and I'm going to give you opportunities to kind of process yourself and ask those questions before I tell you. Don't ever hesitate to pause. But let me just say this right now. I hope you have these notes out and that you're filling it in. Or if you have a spiral, I hope you're writing down these important things, because you're not going to learn if you're not practicing and processing what we're doing. Okay. So it says, number one, Jackie had 75 papers to sell. She has sold 45. What percent of the total number of papers has she sold? Now, before we go any further, if you notice, there's 3 blank proportions set up. What do you know will go as the denominator on each one of these proportions? That's correct, 100. So let's just go ahead and write that in. We have a 100. I'll put it here. I'll put it here. I'll put it here. If you like to put it on the right-hand side, that's okay. If you just want to copy down the way I do it, that's okay too. Okay, this says what percent. So do I have the percent, or am I looking for it? I am looking for it. So I'm going to put the X over 100 because that's where the percent will go. So here's the question. What is the part and what is the whole? Now, most of the time, the smaller number is going to be the part. So if they give you both numbers, then you'll be pretty sure which one's the part and which is the whole. But as you'll see some of the examples, sometimes you don't have those two numbers because you're looking for one of them. But pretty much we know here that she had 75 papers to sell. That's all the papers she had to sell. And there's 45 of them is what she has already sold. So what percent has she sold? Now, every once in a while, they'll do some kind of trick in there where they tell you how many she sold, but then they want the percent of what she has not sold. So again, I'll let you know if we see any kind of problems like that, because it's a little bit more thinking involved. So here's where it might get a little bit trickier. We're going to cross multiply and divide, but if you look at these numbers, they can get pretty big. Now, I will tell you that you can always take a fraction. If they give you a fraction, you can always simplify that fraction before you even start. But I'm going to go ahead and work out these big numbers. Sometimes they work out kind of nicely also. So let's go at it. Whoa. Okay. The 45 and the 75 disappeared for some strange reason. But let's go ahead and get a cross multiply. I'm going to go ahead and keep that variable on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to multiply these two. 45, and then just add the 2 zeros. Now I'm going to divide by 75 on both sides. Again, not quite sure what happened to my 45. Okay, these go away. I'm going to divide 45 by 75. And so again, just a quick reminder, top goes in the box. The top number goes in the box. Now 75 doesn't go into 4. 75 doesn't go into 45. 75 does go into 450 exactly 6 times. 6 times 75 is 450. And no, I didn't just think that up really quick in my head. I already had it figured out. Now, the second thing you want to remember is if you have to bring down a 0, you have to deal with the 0. Even though 75 doesn't go into that 0, we have to make sure to put that 0 up here. So the answer to our question is 60. Now, it's 60%. It is so important for you to remember the percent sign when it's a percent. Let me give you an example. If you ate half of my pizza, you ate 50% of my pizza. But if you just say 50 pizza, that sounds like you ate 50 whole pizzas. So the percent sign is an important symbol, so don't forget it, or you could be counted as an incorrect answer. Let's look at the next one. On number 2, on a written portion of her driving test, Sarah answered 84% of the questions correctly. Bam, I see a percent sign. So they gave me the percent. So I'm going to go ahead and put it over the 100. Now here's where we're going to have to think a little bit. If she answers 42 questions correctly, how many total questions? So we're looking for the total. So we must have the part. So I'm going to put the part on top. I'm going to put the X on the bottom. I'm going to cross multiply 84X. I'm going to cross multiply 4, 2, and then I'm just going to add those 2 zeros. Yes, it's that easy. I'm going to divide both sides by 84. And again, let's keep in mind, top in the box. Normally, I'll just go ahead and write the answer, but I do notice with some of you guys in class that you don't know what goes in the box. It's the top. So watch what I'm doing, top in the box. 84 does not go into 4. 84 does not go into 42. So I put 2 zeros for place value. 84 goes into 5. I said the answer. 84 goes into 420 5 times. Exactly 5 times. I'm going to bring the 0 down, which means I need to deal with it. 84 goes into 0 times. So my answer is 50. It says how many total questions were on the driving test? There were 50 questions. X is 50. It is not 50%. It is 50 questions. And that makes sense. She didn't get all of them correct. She got 84% of them correct. So the number should be less than the total. Number 3, in a small town in Nebraska, 65% of the adults are college graduates. 65%, I see a percent sign. Let's put it over 100. How many of the 240 adults living in the town are college graduates? So this might be a little bit tougher. It says 65% of the adults are college graduates, and then it says there's 240 adults living in this town. So is that the part or is that the whole? It is the whole, because it says how many of those 240 adults living in the town are college graduates. 65% of them. So we're looking for the part. So again, I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to try to keep that x over on the left. And again, I did this math ahead of time. So I end up with 3,120. Big number, I know, but the division part, let me show you something cool if you don't know this already. If I'm dividing and both of the numbers end in 0, I can cancel out both of those zeros. So now suddenly the numbers got a lot smaller. 312 divided by 10. Divided by 10, and there's something is wrong with this. So let's see, 65 over 100, x over 240, 2. Let's go ahead. I want to do this math over again because I feel like I did something wrong. So let me go ahead and work it out again. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. 10, 11, 12. Add a 0. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 4 is 24. 12, 13, 14. 0, 0, 6, 5, 1. So let me correct myself. Thought that number looked not quite right. So let me go ahead and correct it. 1, 5, 6, 0, 0. Now, what's super cool about this, where I'm at right now, is you see how they both end in zeros? 2 zeros, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to cross out both of these zeros and cross out both of these zeros, and now I have 156. So 240 adults live in the town. 65% of those adults are college graduates. So 156 adults are college graduates. I am so glad I double checked myself because it sure didn't look like it was going to turn out right in the end. Okay, your turn now. You can do it. We all make mistakes sometimes, so don't beat yourself up about it. Just white out your mistakes and move on. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.